Hi, it's Irene Weinberg, and welcome to the Grief and Rebirth podcast. Before we get started with the episode, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching so you never miss an episode. Every week, we share heartfelt stories, spiritual insights, and practical guidance to help you navigate grief and trauma, find hope, and discover rebirth after loss. By subscribing, you'll get access to every episode and join our supportive community on this journey. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Hi, everyone. I hope this message finds each of you so very well. I'm speaking to you today from my studio in West Orange, New Jersey, and I could not be more delighted to welcome Manna Abraham, whose work in trauma healing and personal transformation is practiced in more than 35 countries. Her leadership has made her a trusted mentor for high-achieving professionals, coaches, and practitioners around the world. Before stepping into her calling as a global mentor in trauma healing and personal leadership, Manna built an extraordinary career in finance. She was a chartered accountant, CPA, international taxation advisor, and ultimately the youngest CFO of a multinational corporation. Yet, at the height of her success, Manna realized a profound truth. No amount of external achievement creates fearless inner peace. That peace must be built from within, consciously, deliberately, one choice at a time. This awakening became the catalyst for her life's work and the foundation of her book, Finally Free, the 6-step path to healing personal and generational trauma when talk therapy isn't enough. Manna's EMPR method is a trauma-informed, neuroscience-based modality that integrates somatic practices, ancient Eastern philosophies, and modern principles of personal leadership, designed to resolve PTSD, anxiety, depression, and generational trauma at the level of hidden identity. EMPR, which stands for Emotion, Memory, Pattern, Release, allows individuals to heal without reliving their painful stories. Manna's precision, shaped by years in finance and international leadership, enables her to identify the root conflict behind a person's patterns within minutes. Clients often experience breakthroughs in 1 to 6 sessions, shifts that years of conventional therapy could not unlock, because EMPR goes where most methods were never designed to reach. Through Life Full Circle, Manna's global personal transformation and trauma healing organization, Manna guides high-performing, self-aware individuals to release trauma, break generational cycles, and lead from fearless inner peace. She also trains practitioners worldwide, helping them deepen their own emotional independence so they can create lasting transformation for others. Her work honors the full spectrum of human experience, becoming, being, and unbecoming, and offers a path for anyone seeking a new way to live, a new way to lead, and a new way to return home to themselves. I'm looking forward to speaking with Manna, who's joining us from Adelaide, Australia, about the awakening that redirected her life, her trauma-informed, neuroscience-backed EMPR method, and why people stay stuck for years when healing can happen in hours. We'll also explore her belief that we must unbecome to become who we truly are, plus much more in what promises to be an eye-opening and very inspiring conversation. Hi there, and welcome to the International Award-winning Grief and Rebirth podcast. I'm your host, author, and trauma survivor, Irene Weinberg, here to support you wherever you are on your healing journey. Each week, I connect with leading grief and trauma experts, intuitive healers, mediums, and inspiring voices who share powerful stories of loss, resilience, and transformation. If you're searching for hope, meaning, and a path forward after loss or trauma, you're in the right place. Together, let's rediscover joy, healing, and the possibility of rebirth. Hello, Manna. A warm welcome to Grief and Rebirth podcast.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. My goodness, you're an amazing woman. I was researching you. I was like, oh my goodness, she's so bright, and you've made such a contribution to so many people. So everything is a path and a journey. I have mine, you have yours. So let's begin from the beginning and find out how you started to develop all the gifts that you have and what you're doing in life. So I know that from your childhood, you had profound losses and challenges that shaped your early years. You lost your mother. You also witnessed that moment, losing your mother, and you were only 3 years old. You were hidden to survive, and you carried the quiet weight of childhood abuse. And then, as a teenager, you experienced a life-altering accident that awakened you to how fragile life truly is. What would you like to share with us about those early moments of pain, and how did they begin your awakening to shape the inner philosophy you live by and share today? My goodness, you went through it. By the time you were 3 years old, you'd already been through it.
Yeah. Thank you, Irene. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, as a 3-year-old, the point is you don't know what you're going through when you're going through. So, as a 3-year-old, I had no memory, and I lost my mom. Apparently, my father, trying to rescue her, was also injured. So there was nobody to take care. And then.
Did your father pass, or did he live?
No, he lived. He survived, and my mom passed away. And in the process, my grandmother, I'm very grateful. So when nobody wanted to take us, these two little children, for various reasons, me and my younger brother, my father's mother, she chose to take us because she wanted a girl child, because she did not have a girl child. So while the whole society is against a girl child, my grandmother wanted me as a girl child, and she took me and my brother and she brought us up. But in the process, life takes on, and yes, my father got remarried, and then we were sent from my grandmother's to my parents living in the city. But throughout this childhood, I had this extreme, it's not sensitivity in the wrong way, it's the sensitivity that I know. I know what people are going through. I know. But you can't put your finger on it. And also because you know, you think everybody knows. So why is it so hard to know? So it's easy for me to know. And life moves on. And going back home, so the challenges of change, challenges of a new woman trying to understand you, and then all those dynamics, and then you're always on the edge, like, am I going to be here, or am I going to get kicked out? Is my future certain or not certain? So this continuous battle, like, again, the point is, coming back from a traditional background, education that we take so much for granted, you cannot take it for granted then. So that's not something you're taking it like, oh, I'm going to get. So it's a fight for your education. It's like you fight for what you want. So all I wanted was education, because my grandmother continuously, she just gave me one message, that education is your passport to the world. So study, study, study. That's so. When we look from this side of the world, it looks like a competitive world, but actually education is survival on the other side of the world. So I decided I will study, and I was good in that, but nobody knew. So it's so ironic that someone, a stranger, outsider, who saw that I have potential, he took me to a college and he said, she has got the potential, so why don't we give her the opportunity? And that's how I went on to pursue. I started off with engineering, and then I thought, everybody is an engineer with no real prospects. I would do rather chartered accountancy. But before getting into all of that, this is in my 12th grade, and I'm doing my maths, physics, and chemistry, but also I had interest in accounting. So I was learning accounting parallelly while I'm doing maths, physics, and chemistry and preparing for it. So all this success, you're academically brilliant, you're achieving. And this morning, I was learning this accounting software, and that's the day of getting a certificate, and I know I really did well. I got up in the morning. I didn't even get my license yet. I'm on my learning license. I was searching for a copy of that learning license because back home you had to carry this learning license. I was searching for it. I cannot find it. I was searching for it the entire morning, like I had to take it. And then I asked my father to come. It was right there. After about 30, 40 minutes, it was right there. It's as though something is saying, don't go. But I took the learning license. I went to the, because their classes start in the morning, like morning 5:36. So you go there. So that's my learning license, my two-wheeler. So I drove there, got my certificate, A plus plus. Like, it's a good certification. You got it. You're like all this pride about I'm doing maths, physics, and chemistry, and I'm improving my accounting thing, and I'm in this dual concepts. I'm a success in all these areas, all the pride, and I'm coming back with this A plus plus certificate and the pride. And as I was coming back, my scooter, it skids, and on the national highway, I skid, and like I really remember the screech, and then I fall, and that's all I know. And after about an hour, I believe, there are people around on the road, no ambulance people after an hour, and somebody is giving me water. And that's how I come up. And then they said, don't look at your face because this is all ripped apart. And then I looked at it. And the interesting thing was, nothing mattered to me more than I saw the scooter fallen there. And that was my brother's scooter I borrowed. So the first thing my mind said, if today is my last day, I took somebody's thing and I spoiled it. So they said, no, take an auto or take a bus. I said, no, I'm going to go back onto my bike because I had to give it back to my brother because it is his.
How banged up was it, though?
Yeah.
Because was it drivable?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was not. But I said, it's only close by, so I'll do it. And someone else was sitting behind me, and I took them. And then I went home. And the first thing I did was, one, give back what I took from somebody. Don't keep it with you. The second, I went straight into my room, and in that, because of everything that's going on, the sadness that I was experiencing because of the situation at home,
Yeah,
and
trauma. My goodness,
yeah, education and everything else. The first thing I did was first the bike, give it back. Second, went straight into the room. It's bleeding. It's all ripped open, but still, I just had to go into my room. I took this journal where I was writing every day, like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, or this person did not behave right, or things about my stepmom, or all those things. And I thought, had I not come back, this is what I would have left as my legacy. And what if they read that, right? So the first thing I did, even before seeing my father to take me for the hospital and stitches, I shredded that book first because I don't want to leave anymore, like for the next day. Like today, you're living for today.
It made you conscious. You suddenly,
very conscious.
That's what happened to me with the car accident. All of a sudden, you became very conscious.
Yeah. So no ill feelings about anybody, no fights to carry, nothing to look back, nothing to take from somebody and keep it, make it your own, nothing. Moment to moment, can you live clean? That was the message from that.
Wow.
Somehow that shifted, because then if people are rude to you, that's their journey. I'm okay with it. I'm not carrying it with me.
That's right. That's really what consciousness is a lot about, not taking a lot personally, and that's actually what this podcast is about, because people carry all this pain.
Yeah.
And it's not healed, and they're not conscious about what they're doing and how they're passing it on and all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. True. So that's the very first thing that became like a mantra, that never leave a day with any regrets, any fights, any unsaid things, unspoken things, unstated things. I live day to day, moment to moment, not even day to day. So that really frees you, because there is this beautiful saying back home. I don't know how many people really take it, but my point was, when there is something, really embrace it. So when someone dies back home growing up, and if you ask what happened to them, they say they went to God. So in my mind, what else can be a better place than being with the God? So any point of time, if my mother passed away and she is with the God, why would I be selfish to ask her to come and be with me when she can be with God? It was simple equation, isn't it? There is no drama about it. So how can I be grieving anymore? So I realized very soon that me crying for my mom is actually putting that God down because she's with God. It's the most happiest place you can be. So
But you
anything,
can't discount your emotions. I mean, you're still your mother.
right, but emotion is very soon. That's what happened, right? In that moment, the grief that we hold on to is about me, and me. Like, I am missing her. I want a life like that. I want a life like my friend. I want a gift like my friends are getting from their mothers. It's about me. But when you truly have that faith that my mom is with God, why would you ever be sad? There's no place for grief,
Well, if you
right?
feel like it's not over and you're going to be with that person again, because you
Yeah,
are, you
that's
know,
right.
that changes, it changes it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that learning only happened later. But as a child, it's a simple thing. She's with God. So God, better place. So why would I
Right.
ask them to
She's
come
safe
with
and
me?
she's,
Simple. So because of that, I did not have to grieve, but my brother was grieving that I lost my mom. So then I realized what you grieve is because you feel you lost something. But if that is true, I don't know whether that is right or wrong at that point of time. I just asked, where did she go? They said she was with God. She's with God.
for
Better
you,
thing.
that was good. But you
That's
all,
it.
that's it. But you also had an amazing awakening that happened with the Indian Ocean tsunami.
That's right. Yeah.
And
So
oh my good, and then and talk about realizing that everything you had built could be wiped away in an instant.
yeah.
Uh,
Thank
Tell
you
us
for that.
about that.
Yeah. Interesting. So anyway, so this is the one. So yes, she's with God. So I'm at peace with it. But so I don't want to claim her jewelry, or I don't want to do any of that. I didn't want to go there. So irrespective of that, as a child, there is this anger that you left me, because there's that bit in me, like you left me. But I'm not grieving because I'm happy for you. You're with God, but you left me at that point. Anyway, so going back, as a child, the abuse I had to experience for years, which I thought is normal, because as a child you don't know anything different, and the confusion. And when you realize this is not right, and you cannot state it, because if you state it, how will your future be? Who will take care of you? You're just a child. So you put up with it, this confusion, the conflict. Is it love or not love? The fear that you should lock your doors in the night. If you cannot, then there is a problem. Or it's all these fears that because of the abuse, and you cannot state it to anybody, because I tried to state it, ask for help, and it came back to me that I am doing something wrong. But I was quite naive. So I had to really use the excuse of my education to run away from home, literally with nothing. And from there, my journey
So how
started.
did you do that? So you used your education to go to a different country or to
A different state. So it's like, if we say a state in India, it's not like New Jersey and California.
right?
It's like New Jersey and Spain. Different language, different food, different culture.
Wow.
That's what the states are in India. So I'm pursuing chartered accountancy. I said I don't want to be into engineering. I want to pursue chartered accountancy. And that classes are only available in a neighboring state. And I thought that's my passport. My education became my passport and a rescue, a survival. And I left. I asked my uncle for $200 literally in those days, and I said, I need that to stabilize. So I will study and then I'll pay you back. But it will not meet you for more than 2 months. But that strange thing that pushes you. And interestingly, angels come in disguise at the right time. And I've always seen that. This one night, a very good friend of mine who never called me, apart from that, I know he's a meritorious student in the class. He calls me and he says, you should go, you should go, you should go, because you're very talented, you should leave. That push, that's the angel in disguise. That push
Yes. Yes.
pushed me. I
Yes.
don't know anybody. I don't have anybody. I left. I moved to this state. And one person whom I knew barely came to the railway station to pick me up. And from there, I'm determined I will do my chartered accountancy. From there, with no money, no food, who will give me the food? Where will I stay? I don't have a clue. Coming from there, trying to slowly rebuild yourself, getting somebody to help you. And finally, when I thought, today is my exam day, I'll finish these exams and then I will get that financial freedom. I'll qualify, and that's my passport. In the next 2 months, I'm going to get a job and I will be doing something with my life. The very first day of the exam, that's the December 26th, I go out, and then by the time I come back, everything is gone. Dead bodies in the streets.
Oh my
And
God.
so
So
you're
you had gone to
preparing.
the other state,
Yeah,
and that's where the tsunami happened in the other state?
yeah,
And
in
you
the
don't
other
even have a
state.
place to stay yet, and everything is gone.
Everything is gone. So
Oh
I
my
lived in
goodness.
that state. I'm studying. Finally, I'm doing my exam today. I went there. Next 10 days are my exams. I'm going to finish this. All of the hopes and everything you build coming from literally nothing and building bit by bit, thinking you're going to finish this, qualify, and then you will do something with your life. And day one of the exam, you come back wiped off.
Unbelievable. Wow. So how
So
did that shift your journey from aspiration to
because
unbecoming?
So you realize you truly have no control. So why are we crying? I'm only crying for lack of control, but the truth is you don't have any control. So I had to leave the state that night because of multiple tsunami alerts coming in. Go away, stayed in another state because I can't go back. No telephones, nothing else. I had to leave that night overnight in this crowded train. All the hopes, all the
Had
aspirations
you had
gone.
enough money to get on that crowded train?
It's a friend. It's a friend who helped me. So throughout this period, I'm living on borrowed funds with the hope I qualify and pay you back. And that night, again, a friend helped me to get that onto the train, a crowded train. We go there. 6 months, life stopped. 6 months. And after 6 months, when you come back, life resumes and slowly everything starts. So the point is, I was at the age of 3 years, lost my mom. The world for the child is finished, and it somehow got built back by a grandmother. And then when that I thought is settling in, move to the parents, and then that love that you received is finished. You have no control. And then when I thought this, I can escape and survive, and then the strange courage that comes within, inner strength to move forward, and I think I moved forward, that comes to an abrupt end. So what sort of control do we have on this life? And the
That's right.
control, yeah, and the control we assume is an illusionary control within the framework, that we don't have control. So then the moment we realize that, you cannot. And in that moment, because the reason why I was struggling with the trauma is why did this happen to me, why did this happen to me? But when there is a tsunami, there is no why, it's nature. When there is a death of my mom, it's not my control, it's nature. So the person who abused me is also nature. It's not in my control. So it is nothing about why me. It's not about whether I am good or I am bad or I did something wrong. That's the nature.
So by that attitude, you're taking away the guilt that a lot of people feel. Or I
Absolutely.
must have done something. I must have provoked something. This I must be doing something wrong. I must be getting punished. Maybe this is bad karma. You took
Yeah.
all of that away.
All of that away because it's nature. So even human behavior is nature. So the best possibility, the best target, the best bet that nobody tells you that you have is if you can understand and look at it that way, your guilt, regrets, grief, sadness, why, you stop questioning and you come into this complete acceptance of life while doing your best within the framework.
And maybe the only thing you have control over is your choices within that framework.
Absolutely. In this moment, in this moment, in this moment. But the most beautiful thing, again, happening right from childhood, was always sideline. I was always questioning what's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose of this life? And then finally, one day, I experienced something so profound, so subtle. And then I realized you cannot experience this subtle with this noise in your head. You cannot experience this magic that is always happening around you, that you ask for it, you get it. You want something, you say it, you get it. You don't have to rely on people. then you stop pleasing people, because it's not people who are helping you, they're only the conduits of the divine plan to help you. So I don't have to please you again. Where is your mom? She's with God. So do I please you, or do I realize that you are also part of the divine plan, good or bad, and I be me?
You take care of you. Well, you're
That's
also
it.
talking about a lot of self-love. You're talking
That's
about
right.
taking care of
Yeah.
yourself. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean being mean to others. It just means that you're loving yourself,
Yeah. So you are
right?
realizing the power that you have, that you are more than enough, and I don't have to worry of rejection. I don't have to worry about you will abandon me. If that is the plan, so be it. So you stop controlling not to be abandoned. You stop controlling not to be rejected. You stop controlling that if I please you, I will get something from you, because you realize it is nature and you become true to your nature.
It is what it is.
It is what it
It
is.
is what it
That
is.
clarity will take you away. Because of that lack of clarity, why, what is my purpose? You're getting stuck because it's still about I, and I. But the truth is, in a situation like tsunami, you don't have any I in it.
Well, that's
You
sort of
can
the
be,
attitude that I had to take with the car accident,
yeah.
and I came to immediate acceptance also. So tell us about how did all of this happening to you and all these realizations, they became the catalyst for your book, Finally Free, the 6-step path to healing personal and generational trauma when talk therapy isn't enough, which is a
Hmm.
fascinating part to me because I've had a lot of talk therapy that helped me a lot in my life, but it does take time. So, what would you like to tell us about your book and
Hmm.
how your awakening became the catalyst for what you're
Hmm.
doing now?
Thank you. So from there, because of that, after coming back of 6 months, then I pursued my education. I became a chartered accountant, cost and works accountant, international taxation advisor, the youngest CFO, landed in California. So I worked with multinational companies. So I became all these that I wanted, but free from a lot of other things. But in the process, what I realized, because of access to leadership and management trainings and everything else around the world, what I realized is we are looking at people as resources and not looking at them as moving pieces of mind, body, and energy. The moment you see that you are the moving piece of mind, body, and energy, but you are not the mind, body, and energy, then magic happens and people perform and they were living to their full potential. But when I realized that I'm in this chartered accountancy, traveling, change management, and all of that stuff, it rewards you so much. But back of my mind, yes, I could process all of these things, but the memory of it, I don't know at that yet, but I only know that I cannot sleep in the nights without a light on. I only know that I have nightmares of snakes throughout the night. I cannot sleep. Nobody outside knows, but I am this strong woman, educated young person who is getting all the boxes ticked. So why? So I go on to pursue, like I went on to see if somebody can help me in NLP, hypnosis, CBT, yoga, energy healing. I'm trying all these things to see if they can help me. So it's almost symptomatic reduction, but I am not free from it. Why? But I understand this. I had these amazing experiences of the subtlety, the magic in the universe, how you're being guided, how you don't have control. Yet, why am I not free? That led me to say that, okay, I'm putting everything away and let me see what I can do. And then I had, at that point of time, I was having some health issues for 10 years, struggling
Look
to
at the
get the
stress
right.
you had been under. My goodness.
Yeah, it affects you physically.
Of
So,
course.
what I did, I worked with my mind and my body and I healed. The 10 years that I was suffering with because of medicines and everything else, I started doing this. I talked to my body and I healed myself.
Wow.
I don't need a medicine after that.
Wow. So, what did you say to your body? Give us an example.
I was just accepting my body, because when we have a fear, even though we want to be healthy, we choose to be unhealthy. That's the hidden identity. It does not mean who wants to be sick. No, nobody wants to be sick. But what happens underneath is some form of validation, some form of attention, some form of inability to say no. So if I am sick, I can rest. These are all different versions
Right.
because of this independence mask that we wear, because of the strong mask we wear, the shame that we hold if we are seen less inferior or less superior. That when I thought this is, they're not getting to the root of it, because if you are a good coach or a good hypnosis, good yoga teacher, good energy healer, you should be free. Why are you not free? You're just talking. So I had to go back. And when I did that with myself, I thought, let me see what will happen to me. And I did that. Physically, I worked on my body and I healed it. Mentally, I didn't have any nightmares anymore and I'm at peace with it. And something happened. That magic that happened is we are going through this the wrong way.
It sounds like you were getting downloads, like you were channeling information
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah, that insight that comes. And I started using that with people because I'm free. Because the first thing for me was I didn't want to be misaligned. I can't preach that I cannot do. So I had to be free from it. I had to experience it. Only then I can tell you. Otherwise, I am not clean body. My energy field is not clean. I'm not inviting you into a clean energy field. So when I started taking this, I didn't know what is this. I don't have a name, but I experienced it. I did it myself. Yes, I did all these things. And I said, no, you're not touching it. It's like a band aid. You do timeline, regression, past lives, and you go back again to the band aid. So, what is it that we are not addressing? And when I realized that, I realized it's the fear that you hold, fear that you want to live, fear that you are nobody when nobody is around you. It's the fear that if you fail. So the fear, not only from a transactional point of view, the fear that you experience because of lack of faith in that source, or faith in whatever that you want to call
And
it.
you also fear because you have no control.
No control. So that's true. When you realize you don't have any control, then you're ready to flow. So that I'm ready to flow because I have no control. So why am I trying to control anybody, anything, any person? If you are all part of the divine plan, what control do I have except choosing my destiny in this moment?
Right.
So that when I started giving to people and working with them, they're getting results after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of not resolving.
Wow.
They get the result in quite often when people are ready, the very first session is enough for them. And they get that. And all you're doing is you're able to look at fear and face it. And that frees you from it.
Can you give me an example of someone who therapy didn't work for them, and in 1 to 6 sessions you were able to turn, you
Sure,
were able
absolutely.
to discover the root conflict behind their patterns, like in minutes, and were able to turn them around?
Absolutely, because I'm so happy to even to give her name because this is so profound. Her name is Rachel Oxley. She's from Australia. And she was about 53, 55 years old at that point of time. She tried all these different modalities and therapies. She was bullied as a child and she had extreme trauma. She cannot get up from her sofa for 7 years. She's not working. She's not doing anything. She's not moving and going to work or doing anything. So at that point of time, this person, she meets me for the very first time on an introduction session that I was doing. And then I said this, that if trauma is created in an instant, it can be released in an instant. So and then she believed that and she came to meet me. And in the very first session, when we released that emotion from the body, something magical happened, which is she started channeling from her third session.
Oh my goodness. So now how did you release the trauma? Just by having her process it differently, or?
Yeah, it's really by as I said, I understand that I don't have control, understand my mother is with God, I understand all these things, but what we are not addressing is a cellular memory, and that cellular memory is not subject to language. That cellular memory you can only heal with your intention. So I am not healing, I'm guiding, and you're healing your cellular memory, the physical memory, because body, mind, energy, I have mind, I have body, I have energy, they are intertwined. So you're only using the logical approach of knowledge, but you're not using the knowledge of awareness, insight, and observation. And the moment you work on that cellular memory, you release it.
How do you know the cellular memory if it happened before you could remember?
Yeah, so it sounds very simple when we say this, but the point is how quick you can tap it. It's as simple as When you're experiencing an emotion, we are all carried away by this name of the emotion, anger, sadness, or so, but we as humans are defined much more deeper by our senses and feelings. When you tap into the senses and feelings that you're experiencing in the body, and when you go quiet without the noise in the head, when you go a little more quiet without trying to use the language and the talk, and the moment you release that feeling from the body, you will release the emotion and everything connected to it and the meaning of the experience. So, language is the tool that you use towards the end, not the start, because the beginning is your senses and your feelings. But that's the one we forget, and we try to do come to from the other end,
Well,
and
we
we are
often
working on
address things. A lot of people in the world address things from
the
their
logic.
heads, from the
That's right.
logic. And
Yeah,
there's no, I mean, I know people in my own life, they don't identify with feelings. They
yeah,
don't
that's right.
identify with other people's emotions. Everything
Yeah,
is logically processed. And
yeah,
that
or heart processed, because some people are stuck in heart oriented, some people are stuck in logic. But the feeling I'm talking about, because for those of you who are listening, the feeling is not how you are feeling, the feeling is being sensitive to the sensations in your body. That is always talking to you. So many people go into breath works and wanting to control again, but that's not the objective of it. You have to use the intention to work on your cellular memory, and when you tap into it, you will release it. The moment you release it, your logic will automatically be released. So it's not the other way
fascinating.
around.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating. Let me ask you before we go into the spiritual essence of your work and how you've become a cycle breaker, I would like to ask you what has all of this ultimately taught you about the purpose of life?
The purpose of life is truly, if I say this word, it sounds different, but we run away from being selfish. The purpose of the life is to be truly selfish. When you're truly selfish, when you work on your energy,
So you're talking about
and
self love.
I would not say self love. My concept of I don't entertain self love, because we humans are wired to serve. We are not wired to love yourself, because that's also coming from space of ego. But when we are truly serving without questioning I and me, what is in it for me, that selfishness is I'm doing and building my energy field of 10 meters or 100 meters around me, and that anybody coming into that, they're getting that vibration, that frequency, and it's a chain reaction. So when I am depleted in my energy field, that I can be easily triggered by everything happening in the world, emotionally responsive, then that is the frequency I'm giving out to everybody, anybody coming into my field. So more than self love, because self love is a path. Like when you're a beginner, you need to love yourself and focus on you. But after a point, it becomes your duty that you, as a human being, part of the divine plan, it's not about me, me, me. It's about serving, and serving unconditionally. And serving unconditionally is not doing. Serving unconditionally is being, because when I'm being and my energy field is strong, it is more than enough to lift up your logic, lift up your heart centered emotions. It's much more powerful, and you will elevate each other into the higher consciousness than the animal instincts of fear, lower consciousness, and all the rejection, abandonment ideas. So,
Right.
the purpose is to elevate into that higher consciousness. Again, everything is, there's no absolute, but that's a better
So
purpose
that's,
than, yeah,
if we're all part of the collective,
yeah, absolutely.
which, we all come from, well, many of us come from these cultures where we're not part of equal parts of the collective, but we are. And if you're healing and doing all of this, I'm sure everyone here listening can relate to when certain people walk into a room, they catch the vibration right away. This is either
Absolutely.
very loving or very, contained, very with it vibration, or very destructive, very hostile, very
Mhm.
negative.
Yeah.
And you can feel it
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
away.
We all know that, whether you're in leadership or you're a parent, you know it. but you don't give importance to it because you believe in your control, your planning, your organizing, your logic, your emotions. But it's always there. But the magic will happen. That subtle energy that is always there, protecting you, taking care, being there. The physical and non physical world is coexisting. They are not separate. So, the physical and the non physical world, when you experience that they're coexisting, that non-physical world stops becoming the only magic. So you don't take pride in being a psychic, you take the pride in being the collective, expanding your energy field, and we collaborate. The physical and non-physical world, living and non-living, we collaborate, and we are collaborating, just that we are not aware because of the noise in the head.
Yeah. Yeah. And but did something specific happen to have you recognize, is this your gift to offer the world? Was there something thing, this is what I have to do? I'm giving up my accounting, my CPA, my this, my that. This is where I'm going to focus. I'm going to write my book.
Yeah.
What moved you to
Into
this
that.
stage?
Yeah. It was into, so I was managing at one point 101 projects at one point. I was such a busy person. And in that
When
busyness,
did you sleep, Manna?
yeah, that's true. At that point of time, you don't watch the nature, no sunrise, no sunset. You're working 20, 21 hours a day. You live on very minimum. But one thing profoundly shifted me was, this is an insurance sector, and I was working and managing these projects around the world, and I was walking through the corridor, and then one of these insurance guys, he was talking to this client, and he was saying, but what if you don't insure your pet? What if it dies, or what if it gets lost? So it is good to get insured. And I thought, wait a minute, am I contributing for you to induce fear into the world? And I thought, at that moment, I decided anything I do will never induce fear into the world.
Because he was
And
putting fear into the collective. You want to put peace and love.
that's right. You're constantly putting it for your self-interest. You should never do that. So that really made me to think, like, how we really, all of us, in the name of corporate responsibility, social response, the namesakes, but what are you really doing in using fear? So, and I decided that, that's the one. I'm never going to live a life inducing fear into anybody.
Did you
Totally
quit and just open up to this world? Is that like cold turkey? I'm done?
Yeah, I quit. I quit. But also, as an entrepreneur, you have to think of building the bridge. So yes, I took a pay cut, and I said, this is where I'm going to do. My life should be about serving humanity. And in that process, I will find me.
Wow.
That's the process. And I quit, and now I am here reaching the world. And my message, lead life with fearless inner peace, and everything else, leadership, parenting, career, wherever, whatever you are, you expand. And every time, and answering the question why you should heal, because do not stop your world, or do not limit your world to what you think you already know, because you know you don't know. As you evolve, and another layer, another magical layer, another subtle layer, they open up, and in that there is no gravity.
That's
So as long as as long as you're controlling and avoiding to heal, or stopping yourself from healing because I can't face that, whatever that I have to go through, it is the illusion that you're afraid of. And because of that fear, you're avoiding the magic that is waiting there always for you.
I can relate to that, Manna. I can relate to that because I've been a lot on that path. So the deeper truth of who we really are is, you see that we're souls that are part of the collective, and we're here to affect each other.
Absolutely. We all are collectively planting. Your worry thought, you're planting into the universe. That's more important to heal. Contribution and kindness is not about going and feeding somebody. Contribution and kindness is about, what thought am I planting into this universe right now? If I'm worrying in the night in my bed without seeking help, wanting to be strong to my family but not to myself, what thought am I planting into this universe? So you have greater responsibility. What worry, anytime you worry, any anxiety that you hold, any depression, helplessness you're holding, you're planting that into this collective universe, and another vibration, another frequency who is seeking, they will attract that thought, and you're breeding it.
They'll bring it in.
So, they'll bring it in.
And it also helps when you know if you're part of the collective and you're a soul that you are going to go back. Your mother is on the other side. You're going to go back. And I know you have an amazing story about your mother presenting evidence of her being in your life. Could you, and that helped you a lot. Could you please tell us that story?
Thank you. So this is the arrogant phase of my life where everything is airy fairy and woohoo, and you get too carried away by all these things. And I'm a chartered accountant, heading the team, traveling, and I'm doing this personal development for my team and all of that. And then one day, this trainer, she walks in and she talks to all of us. So by this time, all this pride and arrogance of success and lifestyle and all of that, it happens. And also it's at that point like I'm making enough money by now, so and there's a conversation going on that your mom's wedding jewelry, you had to get it because you're the daughter. And I said I don't want that, but I can make for myself. I don't want that. So if my other cousins, if they want, they can take it. I don't want. So this arrogance of the success and age and achievement and all of that toughness that you show per project. And as I was going through that, but I'm a good person to my team and I'm an achiever, go-getter, like people want me like yesterday. And in that, one day, this lady who's a trainer, she walks in, and at that point of time we were doing Tuesdays with Morris, the book, where the parrot on your shoulder is asking, are you ready? And the conversation goes, and then she asked, like, if the parrot is on your shoulder, are you ready? And somehow I said, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can go now, right? But this all the success, everything, and you think that young woman would want the world, but my mind is like, I'm ready. If the parrot is saying, are you ready? I'm ready to go. Interestingly, I say that word and everybody said, no, I'm not ready. And I'm like, I'm super ready. So I was
Because
ready
you're
all
not
the
as
time.
afraid. You're not as afraid.
Yeah, all the time I was ready. And the next day, this woman, she walks in and she comes. By the time she does not know my name because it's a big team and she does not know my name, but she walks in and she says, she asked me for my name. She asked like for my name and I say, yeah, that's me. And then she comes to me and then she says, I got this message from your mother that you do not want her jewelry. And she
Wow.
asked me to tell you that she traveled with you on the last train. And this is the ring, my diamond ring. And she asked me to give this to you to tell you that she is always there with you.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's the ring.
Wow. This was her ring.
This was her ring that my mother asks her to give to me.
Right.
So this
Because
is
you wouldn't, so that you had that symbol that your mother was with you.
with
And
you.
how
So
generous of her.
who would give that unless you're so fully convinced that this is the reality? Who would give you one, two, three, four, five diamonds and a gold strong ring? Who would give it to a stranger? I'm a personal development trainer and I get this name and I give it. So she comes and she gives this ring and it's now over 20 years. But I keep this alone in my travels, lost two diamonds, but this is the
Absolutely.
ring. So the arrogance we hold that I know it all and the control and why me and the purpose and everything else is because the noise in the head is so strong that you're missing the magic of life. And what we can collaborate as physical, non physical, living, non living, it's not out there, it's you already. Only thing we are doing is we are moving away from it. That's why the unbecoming. You're layering it like a nail polish and you're forgetting you have a nail. So the only way is remove the layers and find your nail and strengthen it, right?
Find out who
So
you
it's
are. That's a
find out who
beautiful
you
story.
are. So you're not going there to achieve, you're coming back to you. That's the unbecoming. And then you operate from that state. That's becoming, unbecoming, and being.
Makes a lot of sense. Mana, do you have a special offer for our audience?
Yeah, that's right. So if you're reading my book, you would see that you have a QR code on that and you can come on to that. Or you can just go to mannaabraham.com and then there is a 3-day masterclass that I run and I'm more than happy for you to attend that. It's worth, the 3 days is worth about $1,000, but you as my guest can attend for free. So you can log on to mannaabraham.com and you can join me.
You know, you could also provide a link and we'll put it in our show notes So if
Absolutely.
you would
Sure.
like to do that, I would appreciate that. So I'm telling everyone in our audience, there will be a link in the show notes so that you can
Sure.
get onto Unbecoming with Manna with Manna.com, and you
Sure.
can take advantage of her generous offer. And
Absolutely.
I would love to hear Manna's guidance for experiencing joy as something we uncover rather than something we try to find.
Mm. Right. Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
the joy that we are trying to find is not out there, it is in here. And when I'm saying it, I'm not being very generic or being just an average, mediocre statement. It's not. And what I realized in my journey is we are so focused on mind, logic, and energy and everything else. But the most powerful instrument that you have is this body. We haven't even tapped into this body, but that does not mean you go and sit for some asanas or yoga or exercises. It's not that. This body is the conduit to consciousness. This body is the conduit to that joy, that bliss, that eternal bliss. And how that happens, and what I found after researching everything else, is you don't have to climb Mount Everest, because I did have a client who climbed Mount Everest to ensure that she's free from trauma, and ayahuasca so that you can be free from trauma. No amount of that external things will really free you to access your fearless inner peace that is in this body. This body is a very intelligent machine, which is a spirit densed with your emotions and memories and everything else, and it is shown as a gross body. But the journey is to move this gross body from gross state to that subtle state, and that power is in your body. And if you learn how to harness it, then you'll naturally you become the alchemist of your life. And how do you become the alchemist? And when I give you these things, you will think, oh man, that's super silly. No, can you be consistent, disciplined with it, right? The 5 things that you have to take care of. One, take care of your body by moving your body every day, hydrating your body every day, and sleeping properly. Your success is in really in that. You don't have to go into any other forms of self-care, self-love. Can you sleep properly? Can you hydrate every day? Can you move your body every day? Body. The second is about your breath. Your breath, please do not go into the extremes of box breathings, humming breathings, and breath works. No, it's not about the breath work. It is about realizing and using your breath and staying with your breath all the time. Can you do that? Simple, sounds simple, isn't it? But try it and see
It's not
how
so
often.
easy.
Yeah, it's not so easy. So the second aspect is taking care of the breath. Not taking care, is about being with your breath,
It sounds like it sounds like being conscious
being
of
conscious,
your
right?
breath,
Of
aware.
your breath,
Yes.
aware. So if you can do that at least 40 minutes, you are really successful. So our success is not in how much bank balance, because this, like my mom with God, is more powerful than being with me, like that. This body is an intelligent machine, and that breath, when you're aligned to that, you cannot be emotional. You cannot be triggered. Nothing stops you. That's the second one. The third is mind and emotions. Instead of accepting emotions as to be human is to be emotional, or seeing your mind as the only tool, see that mind as your toy and train that toy, or the pet or a team member. So train that mind, have a conversation with the mind. It's not dissociation, it's the ability to see your mind, body, and energy separate from you. And when you do that, you can have a conversation with your mind, and you will be free from those emotional triggers and responses. Through that, you will develop your intuition and wisdom, the subtle magic. And once you're experiencing that subtle magic, you release that hold onto your ideas and hidden identities of family or fear or poverty or whatever that is, success or whatever, that will naturally push you. And your natural state, you will go back to the fifth one, is the bliss and joy. So, joy is something to go back to and not something to achieve there. And the way to go back is come back to this body, which has got all these subtle things. And if you can be disciplined and if you're consistent with it, the magic happens in here, right? So, I see many people, yoga teachers, they do all these asanas. It's not that. It's really about taking care of this body, aligning to your breath. Please don't get into the extremes of, because if you have fear of missing out and foremost and seeker, you'll go more into getting into trying to get a PhD in it. No, don't. Just simple things. Stay aligned to your breath, move your body, hydrate yourself, sleep, and see what is stopping you to do these basic things. And that's where your work begins.
And then, but I have the second thing was breath, and the third thing was mind and emotions.
Mind and
and
emotion.
then you had a fourth. What was the fourth?
The intuition of wisdom that you receive. When you're doing these three, then that intuition of wisdom, that insight, that download, it starts happening. But many people they get carried away by intuition, but the intuition you get carried away is your involuntary calculation. It's not intuition. There's a big difference in the involuntary calculation and the intuition that comes. It's very different.
Tell us how it's different.
So I can look at somebody and say, oh, I'm not feeling good about them. Two ways. One, you may be resembling an aunt that I don't like, and my mind is bringing a memory and saying I don't feel good about the person is one thing.
It gets triggered. Mm-hmm.
That gets triggered, which is an involuntary calculation of all the memories and projecting it. And you are not ready yet, or they have the capacity to see that. So you can say, well, intuitively, I don't like that person. That's not intuition, isn't it? It's an involuntary calculation of a memory. But when you're free from the memory, there is another chapter that opens that you cannot question it. There is no emotion about it. There is no I about it. It comes and you receive it. And that has nothing, just like how you said, a soul has to go, many lessons to be learned. There is no emotion. There is nothing. It's a statement, the insight, it comes and you act on it. It's counterintuitive.
Because for me, when that happened and other people were like, what are you doing? But it felt right. It felt right. And that's why I went with it. And I didn't tell people for a long time because they couldn't understand it.
Yeah. So there's a big difference in that. So the intuition we speak of here is me putting me into it, my fears, my emotions, my needs, my everything in it. The intuition, even though it is you losing your husband, it is coming to you, and you're like, yeah, I get it, and I'm okay to take it.
Right, and I will take it. Right,
I'll take it. Face it. Yeah.
You and I have both been through a lot, and we're sort of part of that, kind of same mindset about things, right? Or I should say heart set. So, Manna, this is a wonderful interview. And I just want to say in closing that I want to share this special quote from your book, Finally Free, with our Grief and Rebirth podcast audience. Quote, you are not held hostage by your life circumstances. You're held hostage by how you interpret them. And because meaning is created, not fixed, it can be changed, which means your experiences, your emotional reality, and ultimately your life can be transformed. Manna, thank you for all you do to help people heal and transform their lives, to experience fearless inner peace for the rest of their lives. And from my heart, I wish you abundant blessings always.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Or as I like to say, to be continued.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that. To be continued.
Thanks for tuning in to Grief and Rebirth. Remember, you can dive deeper into everything we've discussed by checking out the show notes and all past episodes at griefandrebirth.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Irene S. Weinberg on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel at Healing from Grief and never miss a video. For those of you listening, you'll find links to my 2 books, Good to the Last Drop and They Serve Bagels in Heaven, in the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see those books listed right above, so don't miss out. And here comes a special treat. If you sign up for Audible as a first-time user using my link, which you can find in the show notes, you can get They Serve Bagels in Heaven for free. And finally, people often ask me what I read, what I use, and what I recommend for healing and self-care. So I've carefully curated a compilation of those items to share with you. You can head over to www.amazon.com/shop/Irene S. Weinberg to check them out. And to my cherished Grief and Rebirth podcast fans, stay tuned and see you again soon.